Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 22nd and 23rd of November 2020. You can see here two best images of the day, but today we will discuss 7 to 8 very important and most important current affairs of the day. But before proceeding, I want to discuss about Affairs Cloud subscription that you can buy our Affairs Cloud current affairs subscription with two methods. You can directly go to our website, that is affairscloud.com/current affairs, or you can directly go to the description box of this video. Under this description box, there is a link of subscription. You can directly visit the website or you can directly visit the subscription link. What you will get in the subscription PDF, you will get the daily PDF, that is the theoretical news and the question and answer PDF. You will get the weekly PDF arranged according to the week wise. There is a weekly test section. It is very important to evaluate yourself so that you can check that how much current affair you can retain after a long time. And there is a monthly PDF section also there. In the monthly PDF section, there is a 5 PDF which will be provided to you through email. And under first PDF, that is the study PDF, all the theoretical current affairs of the month will be given. Second is the question and answer PDF, very important because all the theoretical current affairs converted into the question and answer format so that you can revise and retain the current affair very easily. Next is the pocket PDF, as the name suggests that before your exam you can revise the current affair very easily because these are just 2 lines or the 3 lines of basic current affairs. Next is the banking, finance and the economy PDF, very important for those students who are preparing for the banking exams. Next, last section, that is the question and answer PDF top 100. It means top 100 current affairs of the month will be provided to you in the form of question and answer. So all this subscription comes at very minimal cost, guys, and we are providing the yearly subscription. So at very minimal cost, if you visit the website or go to the description link, then you will surprised to see the price. And on that minimal price, we are providing you 10% extra discount. You can use this code ASH10, then you will get the 10% extra discount on that minimum price. Now, let's start today's current affair, that is 22nd and 23rd of November. Here is our first question. Navies of India, US, Japan, and which country participate in the second phase of Malabar Naval Exercise 2020 held in Arabian Sea? Now mark under the most important section, guys, because it is related to the naval exercise, and name of the exercise is the Malabar Naval Exercise, and 4 countries are participating in this exercise. Earlier there were only 3 countries, that is India, US, Japan, but recently 1 country added under this Malabar Naval Exercise. I already covered this question 3 days back, but I am again repeating this question because it was again in news, so that's why I am covering this news again. And India, US, Japan, and next country is the Australia. So remember, the 4th country, that is Australia, also joined the Malabar Naval Exercise. So most important question, guys, mark under the most important, and it held in the Arabian Sea. It held in the Arabian Sea. It means India's west side. It held in the India's west side. So remember this. You can also see here, it is the second phase of the Malabar exercise, that is India, US, Australia and the Japan. That concludes in the Arabian Sea. Now moving to next question. That is Oil India Limited, Oil, launched the rupees 220 crore seismic survey program in which state to locate oil and gas in Indian sedimentary basins. Now guys, it is very important news because we are basically exploring the places where we can find some oil traces, and it is the state. You have to tell me the name of the state that where this Oil India Limited want to locate oil and gas in the Indian sedimentary basins. Indian sedimentary basins, it means they want to just basically search the oil and gas in the sedimentary rocks. This is the Indian sedimentary basin. And guys, this sedimentary basin lies in the Mahanadi River. Mahanadi River. And this Mahanadi's main state is the Odisha. So remember, the name of the state is Odisha. So I am completing the question that Oil India Limited launched 220 crore seismic survey program in Odisha state to locate oil and gas in the Indian sedimentary basin. Remember, it is in the Puri district of Odisha. It is in the Puri district of Odisha. You can also see the image, and one more important thing, that Indian Oil Corporation. Remember, it is the Oil India Limited. This is the Indian Oil Corporation. These are both two different organizations. So Indian Oil Corporation, that is the IOCL, zero emission e-mobility. It means they successfully tested zero emission e-mobility. Now it means they basically tested the electronic charging stations. In accordance with the study, zero emission electric mobility is a concept that allows the electric vehicle to charge using solar power and ensuring zero emission. It means it is not dangerous for the environment. It means you can use this zero emission electric mobility charging stations. So this is basically final approval by the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. And this is a eco charge. It means this electronic vehicles are charged using solar power. No upgrades are required in the grid infrastructure. Just one time installment is there. Grid resilience is improved by the system architecture, especially in the remote areas. It is very useful for the remote areas. So remember this. So you can see here, Indian Oil Corporation Limited successfully conducts a proof of concept feasibility study on zero emission electric mobility at one of its fuel station in the Bengaluru, Karnataka. The study will help in promoting electric mobility in the country. It means if we want to raise the electric vehicle stations or the charging stations, then this is very useful study by the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. The study of zero emission electric mobility is a concept that allows the electric vehicle to charge using solar power and ensuring zero emission. So remember this zero emission electric mobility. What is this? It means if you charge your vehicle by the solar energy during the electric technology, then it will ensure that no emission will be there. It means zero emission. Next is Oil India Limited. This is the second company who launched 220 crore seismic program in the Puri district of Odisha. Both the questions are very important. Remember, don't confuse with the Indian Oil Corporation and Oil India Limited. Both are different organizations. I repeated 3 times that both are different organizations. Because Indian Oil Corporation Limited has headquarters in the New Delhi and Oil India Limited has a headquarters in the Noida, Uttar Pradesh. Remember. And who is the chairman of Indian Oil Corporation? That is Shrikant Madhav Vaidya. Remember Shrikant Madhav Vaidya. He is currently the chairman of Indian Oil Corporation Limited, that is IOCL. This is very important news, guys. Mark under very important section. Move on to next question. Which company secured the contract to build 87.569 kilometers of India's first high-speed rail corridor or the bullet train project, that is Mumbai to Ahmedabad high-speed rail? So this is the name of the company, which you can just guess in the option, or you can mark the right answer in the option, that who secured the contract to build almost 87.5 kilometer of India's first high-speed rail corridor, or you can simply say the bullet train project from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. Now there are 2 or 3 things important, that Mumbai to Ahmedabad, that is the first India's high-speed rail, that is almost 320 kilometer per hour. Mumbai Ahmedabad high speed rail, and this is L&T construction. Remember L&T construction, that is the Lawrence and Turbo construction company who get this type of the 87.5 kilometer. But remember, it is not the total length of Mumbai and Ahmedabad bullet train project. It is just a small length between Mumbai to Ahmedabad. You can see here L&T construction bags another contract to build India's first high speed rail corridor. And you can see here 87.5 kilometer is just a small amount, because total length of this full journey between the Mumbai to Ahmedabad is so long, that is the 508 kilometer, out of which 87.5 kilometer will be built by this L&T. So remember this. And total cost is 7,000 kilometer, and this particular package represent only 17.2% of the total length of project. I already told you that it is only cover just small percentage, that is 17.2%. Total length is 508 kilometer, under which maximum length comes under the Gujarat, that is 348 kilometer. Next is the 155 kilometer in Maharashtra, because it is between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. So by default, Ahmedabad is in Gujarat and Mumbai is in Maharashtra. So maximum length of the railway track lies in the Maharashtra and the Gujarat. And 4.3 kilometer in the Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. So remember this, 4.3 kilometer in the Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So this is the main thing you have to remember about this news. The high-speed rail operate at a speed of 320 km per hour. I already told you that, and will cover 500 km in 2 hours, just 2 hours, and limited stops, and 3 hours with all stops. So remember this total journey is 508 km, Mumbai to Ahmedabad, and just small percentage like 87.5 km will be built by the L&T construction company, and maximum length of this track lies in the Gujarat. This is the very important and the basic things about this news. And where is the headquarter of L&T? That is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. No need to remember the chairman, CEO or the managing director. Just remember the headquarter, that is Mumbai, Maharashtra. And it is again not important so much. Just remember the name of the company, L&T. Move on to next question. Next question is from the picture. You can remember from the picture that solar capacity addition falls in September quarter report 80%. It means according to a report, India's solar capacity will decrease by the 80% if you compare the same months in the 2019. If you compare the same projects in 2019. And guys, this report is published by Mercom Communication Limited. The solar capacity of India has decreased in the second quarter of financial year, and it just added 438 megawatt solar capacity, a down of 80% from the 2177 megawatt in the same period in 2019. I already told you so much less, that is the almost 80% less in the last year. You can say it is due to the COVID-19. Thus we are not basically all the departments are not working with proper manner. That's why there is so much less addition in the solar energy. And India's total solar installed capacity was at 37 point. Remember, I am telling you the figure that how much capacity India have, 37.4 gigawatt. 37.4 gigawatt till the September 2020. So 37, that is the total capacity of India. India can almost, you can remember, that is the 40 gigawatt. That is so simple to remember. And Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has proposed development of wind parks and wind solar hybrid parks in so many areas, so that maximum to maximum renewable energy can be generated. And this renewable energy comes under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And who is currently the Minister of State that has independent charge in the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy? That is Rajkumar Singh. Remember, Rajkumar Singh. This is the important question. This is not a basically question. It is just a, you can say, the information for you guys that India's solar capacity is decreasing if you compare from the 2019 in the same months. And total installed capacity till date is the almost 40 gigawatt. Move to next question. Poshan Abhiyan was launched to improve nutritional outcome of which type of the categories? You have the four categories in the options. So you have to tell me under which category the Poshan Abhiyan was launched to improve the nutritional outcomes. First option is the children, the nutritional outcome of the children between 0 to 6 years, pregnant women and the lactating mothers. And guys, answer is very simple. Answer is all of these. So remember this question. If you are also preparing for the UPSC, this question is very important. That is the Poshan Abhiyan. Because this Poshan Abhiyan was launched by Modi ji in 2018 on the International Women Day. On the occasion of the International Women Day in Rajasthan. Remember, in Rajasthan. And it is just to improve the nutritional outcome for the children of 0 to 6 years, pregnant women and the lactating mothers. You can see here that UNICEF and other 5 organizations tied up, it means partner, to strengthen the Poshan Abhiyan. I am just announcing the name of the 6 basically organization. You don't have to remember the 6 organization. Just remember one organization, that is UNICEF. This is important, that UNICEF and the other 5 organizations are there to strengthen the Poshan Abhiyan. So remember what is the Poshan Abhiyan, and other organization is the Nutrition International, Alive and Thrive. That is again important. UNICEF is important. FIGO is important. Artist is so no need to remember this. Just remember the main important organization, that is the UNICEF. And remember what is the Poshan Abhiyan. Now what about UNICEF? UNICEF, you all know that where is the headquarter of UNICEF? That is the New York. And who is the head of the UNICEF? That is Henrietta Fore. Remember Henrietta Fore or the Henrietta Fore. F-O-R-E. Henrietta Fore. That is the UNICEF. And UNICEF headquarter New York. Move to next question. The 12th counter-terrorism dialogue was held virtually between India and which organization? This is just to counter the terrorism. So that's why India and this organization basically launched a program, that is 12th program between these two, you can say, entities. And this organization is, guys, European Union. Remember, this organization is European Union. You can also see the image that 12th European Union India and European Union counter-terrorism dialogue held virtually on the 19th of November 2020. No need to remember the date, just remember it is the 12th time that India and the European Union hold this virtual dialogue to counter the terrorism. So during this meeting, both sides accepted to support each other in their fight against terrorism. The dialogue was co-chaired by the Mr. Mahavir Singhvi, that is Joint Secretary of the Counter-Terrorism, Ministry of External Affairs of India, and there is one person again from the European side. So no need to remember the name of the person. Just remember why this meeting was held, just to support each other in the fight of their against terrorism. And most important organization here, why this I cover this question, that is the European Union. European Union headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium. Remember, Brussels, Belgium, and this is basically covered in the NCRT also. So remember this, Brussels, Belgium. And how many countries are member? After Britain exit, the total countries are 27. Remember, total countries are 27. Because United Kingdom already withdrew from the European Union in the early 2020, or you can say the January 2020. And who is the European European Parliament President? That is the David Sassoli. Remember, David Sassoli. David Sassoli. Sassoli. This is the main spelling of the David Sassoli. He belongs to the Italy, and he is currently European Parliament President. European Parliament President. And where is the headquarters? That is most important, Brussels, Belgium. Move on to next question. What is the name of the India supercomputer? I think this question is the most important question, but I cover under the very important because every student know about this. But I am also covering some basic information the examiner can ask. So remember this question and mark my words in your brain. What is name of the India supercomputer who was ranked 63rd in the list of most powerful non-distributed computer system in the world? Most powerful list, that is the top 500 supercomputer list will be basically given, and under this India's supercomputer which ranked 63rd, that is the Param Siddhi. Remember Param Siddhi, that is basically related to the artificial intelligence, and this Param Siddhi supercomputer ranked 63rd, and it is basically placed at the CDAC Mohali. It is placed at CDAC Mohali. It is India supercomputer that is in the top 100, Param Siddhi. You can also see here it is the 63rd time that top 500 list is released, and India's number one supercomputer is the Param Siddhi artificial intelligence, rank in the list of 500 most powerful supercomputer in the world. Most important news, and this question will definitely come in the banking exam and the other exams also, even in the state PSC or the state PSC exams also. You can remember this news, and you can also remember some important news. It was established in 2020 under the National Supercomputer Mission, remember, and it has a peak capacity of 5.267 petaflops and maximum capacity of 4.6 petaflops. Just remember 4.6 to 5.2 petaflops. That is the main frequency of this computer. It will be installed in the CDAC Pune, I already told you. It is jointly developed by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and Department of Science and Technology. Not so much important that who developed this. Another supercomputer, that is Pratyush. Remember, Pratyush ranked 77. It is another top 100 computer. It means in the top 100 list, there are two supercomputers from India. One is the Pratyush. It was ranked as 77. And one is the Param Siddhi. It was ranked as 62. And second is the Mihir. This computer ranked as 145th rank out of the top 500 supercomputer. Out of the top 500 supercomputer. So remember these vital information, very important information. So main countries are Japan, USA, Germany, Italy and France dominated the first 100 systems. First 100 system dominated by these 5 countries: Japan, USA, Germany, Italy and the France. The list comprised 212 systems of China. 212 system of China out of 500. Out of 500, and that is the you can say highest in the field, 212. And followed by the US. US has 113 and Japan has 34. Japan has 34 out of 500. So India's Param Siddhi, Pratyush and the Mihir. These 3 computers come under the 500 supercomputer list. Remember this, guys. This is very important news, and even you can mark under the most important news. Most important news. Remember this. And Ministry of Science and Technology, that comes under the Union Minister Harshvardhan. Union Minister Harshvardhan. Move to next question. Which company and USAID partner under WGDP to launch Project Kiran? This is the keyword, that is Project Kiran, for women empowerment. And guys, this is a financial inclusion program so that maximum to maximum women can be included in the financial circumstances. And this company is the USAID, that is the United States Agency for International Development. United States Agency for International Development. Partner with WGDP, that is the Women's Global Development and Prosperity. Women's Global Development and Prosperity. And this is basically for the women empowerment. And they launched Project Kiran, and this company is the MasterCard. Remember, this company is the MasterCard. So answer is A. You can see in the image that MasterCard and these USAID and one more, that is the WGDP started initiative Project Kiran. Project Kirna or the Kiran. Basically the name is the Project Kiran. Empower women through the financial inclusion. I already told you this is for the financial inclusion. You can also see here Project Kiran is a 2-year economic empowerment program for women that drives small business growth through digital financial inclusion, so that maximum to maximum women empowerment can take place by the financial inclusion process. The program will be implemented in the selected cities of Uttar Pradesh, including Lucknow, Kanpur and the Varanasi, because it is just on the pilot basis that started, but it will cover all the pan India in the recent phases. So remember who started this type of the campaign, that is the Project Kiran. Move to next question. The Asian Development Bank approved $50 million, about 370 crore policy-based loan to which state for boosting digital platforms? It means just to boost the digital platforms in that state, the organization provided some type of the financial services or the financial loan to that state. So this is main objective to improve operational efficiency and resource planning and management in the state. It is also to integrate the financial and information system and expand the automation reforms in the state government operation, which is expected to strengthen the delivery of public services and generate fiscal saving. So it is just to improve the digital awareness about the revenue system. That is the basic initiative of this scheme. And guys, this state is the West Bengal. Remember, this state is West Bengal. West Bengal is very important state. Remember, there is a Sundarban Biosphere Reserve in West Bengal. Sundarban Biosphere Reserve. There is again one more important, that is Gorumara. Remember, Gorumara National Park is there. One more important, that is Mahananda. Mahananda National Park is also there. Gorumara National Park. Sundarban Biosphere Reserve is there. So this is, guys, West Bengal. West Bengal, very important state. And recently the elections will also take place in 2021. Starting of the 2021 in West Bengal there is an election. So remember. And most important, another thing is the Asian Development Bank. Who is the chairman of the or the president of the Asian Development Bank? That is the Mastasugu. And membership countries are 68. This institution started in 1966. And where is the headquarter? That is Philippines. Remember, headquarters is in Manila, Philippines. You can see also here, Asian Development Bank approves 50 million loan to the West Bengal so that they can improve the resource planning or the revenue system in better manner by providing the digital skills. To improve operational efficiency and resource planning and management in the West Bengal, to integrate the financial and the information system and expand the automation reforms in the state government operation, which is expected to strengthen the delivery of public service and generate fiscal saving. So remember this. This is the important news. You can just remember the name of the state. Move to next question. This is the most important question, guys. Which insurance company launched its first digital application, that is Anand? Remember the name of the application. This is the main keyword. You can mark the answer right. Anand stands for Atmanirbhar Agents New Business Digital App. This insurance company started this type of the platform for the agents, for the company agents, so that they can insure a customer policy on the digital platform by this digital app known as the Anand. And this company is the life insurance company, that is the LIC. So remember this, LIC. You can see here LIC launched Anand, that is the Atmanirbhar Agent New Business Digital Application. The digital tool supports the onboarding process to get life insurance policy with the help of this agent or intermediary without any paperwork. It means all the process will be digital. It means if you want to take a life insurance policy, or you are a first time customer or the second time customer, you can just join the LIC firm by this app that known as the Anand. Anand is a first of its kind in the Indian life insurance industry, with LIC pioneering the process through its in-house IT-enabled system. It means all the technology is developed by the LIC to facilitate the process of proposal completion that is fully paperless and digital. Main aim of the LIC is just to basically eliminate the paperwork and can fully utilize the paperless and the digital methods in the LIC. So any agent who want to basically cover the person or the customer, then they can use this type of the app that is known as the Anand. And remember the full form of Anand, that is very important. Atmanirbhar Agents New Business Digital Application. And what about LIC, guys? LIC is very important life insurance company. It was started in 1956 according to the LIC Act of 1956. Headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra. And who is the chairman? That is most important, M.R. Kumar. M.R. Kumar is the currently chairman of the life insurance company. Move to next question. Moody's up financial year 21 India's growth forecast. Earlier, it was basically predicted at 11.5% that Indian GDP will be contracted by 11.5. Now, Moody's revised at 10.6%. It means they upgraded the Indian growth rate in the fiscal year of 2020-21. Remember this, it is the Moody's. Very important. Move to next question. Who won 5th Children Climate Prize 2020 for designing solar power ironing cart? Solar power ironing cart. You can see in the picture this type of the cart that his father is using for ironing of clothes, and she built basically this type of the iron cart which are using the solar power technology, and it is a Tamil Nadu school girl, Vinisha Umashankar. Remember Vinisha Umashankar, who wins this Children's Climate Prize for designing solar powered ironing cart, and this is the actual picture of the cart. You can also remember this. So the answer is Vinisha Umashankar. Remember the name of this child, that is Vinisha Umashankar, and very good work by this child. She belongs to Tamil Nadu. You can see here the solar ironing cart. The solar panels on the roof of the mobile ironing cart is connected to a 100 megawatt. Basically, it is not 100 megawatt. Basically, it is 100 mAh. That is the milliampere hour. The panel will produce around 250 watts of power per hour, which will take around 5 hours to fully charge the battery, which can power the steam iron for 6 hours, and it is very useful. The engineers of National Innovation Foundation, Gujarat, built the prototype of this cart, have applied for the patent even. Vinisha Umashankar is very famous person and has won the APJ Abdul Kalam Ignite Award 2019 for innovation. She is also shortlisted for the Prime Minister of India Rashtriya Bal Shakti Puraskar 2021, highest civilian award for India for student under the age of 19. So most important keyword is the Vinisha Umashankar. By this name you can remember the question. So remember this. Move to next question. Who is appointed as external auditor of Inter-Parliamentary Union? Who is appointed as external auditor of Inter-Parliamentary Union? Inter-Parliamentary Union. This is important because 2 days back we just covered the question, who is the president of Inter-Parliamentary Union, because recently he was appointed and his name was Mr. Durat. Mr. Durate or the Durat. He was recently appointed as the president of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Inter-Parliamentary Union is a group of 179 member parliaments including India and 13 associate members. And I already tell you about the slogan of this Inter-Parliamentary Union, that for democracy for everyone. And this Inter-Parliamentary Union was established in 1989. Not 1989, it was 1889. Yes, it was 1889 that was established Inter-Parliamentary Union. So I am repeating again one or two things, that it was established in 1889. Total countries are 179. India is also a member of Inter-Parliamentary Union, and who was recently appointed as the president, that is Mr. Durat Peshiciu. Full name is the Mr. Durat Peshiciu. And Now, remember the name of the person, that is the CAG of India, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, and he is currently Girish Chandra Murmu. Remember, Girish Chandra Murmu appointed as the External Auditor of Inter-Parliamentary Union, and he is 14th Comptroller and Auditor General of India. He is 14th Comptroller and Auditor General of India, and he is appointed as External Auditor of Inter-Parliamentary Union for 3 years. For how much time period? That is for 3 years. Remember this. So move into next question. You can also see the picture of the Girish Chandra Murmu, CAG of India, appointed as the External Auditor of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. It means you can remember one more important thing, that CAG of India is the External Auditor of World Health Organization and also the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Remember this also. You can see here, Dr. Durat Peshicho has been elected as the 30th President of Inter-Parliamentary Union. We recently covered this question. Global Organization of National Parliament has the status of being a permanent observer at the United Nations General Assembly. It means UNGA, out of 133 members, one organization is the IPU. Presently, CAG of India is the external auditor of World Health Organization and the Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO. Remember this also. Move to next question. Name of the book, that is the Baluchistan, Bruised, Battered and the Blooded. And he is an Italian journalist who wrote this book, that is the Francesca Marino. Remember the name of the person, that is the Francisco Marino, or you can remember FM, Francesca Marino, who wrote about the Baluchistan. He basically states that Baluchistan is of a basic strategic and geopolitical importance to Islamabad as well as the CPEC. Now, one more important keyword is the CPEC, that is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project of China, among others. So, this is basically the proposal of the CPEC under this book, that is the Baluchistan. Remember the name of the book, remember the name of the writer, that is the Francesca Marino, and he is Italian journalist who wrote this book. Move to next question, and it is the World Television Day. World Television Day, guys, it is important. World Television Day, because you can watch the television on the 21st of November and your parents will not argue with you on the 21st of November. So by this you can remember, and this day is just observed across the globe on 21st November to recognize the increasing impact of television on decision making and to focus on the issues like economic and the social issues. So this is the main agenda of this World Television Day. And United Nations General Assembly adopted this day in 1996 and proclaimed that 21st November will be celebrated as the World Television Day or observed as the Television Day. So remember this day, or you can remember on 21st of November we will see television all day, full day, no study, no going outside, all the day we will watch the TV on the 21st of November. By this you can remember this news. Move to next question, National Newborn Week. This is again important, National Newborn Week, that is November 15 to 21, because there is a National Children Day on the 14th of November. After 14th November there is a 15th of November and it is started the National Newborn Week, and this National Newborn Week is from the 15 to 21. Remember, from 15 to 21. This is important, guys. Mark under the important section. This is the National Newborn Week. So remember this. And this is celebrated on 15th November to 21st of November to increase the awareness on the importance of a newborn care for survival and development of the newborn. Remember. And the National Newborn Week is dedicated to promote the reduction of newborn mortality, because it is known as neonatal mortality. Neonatal mortality. It means if a child died before the age of 28 days, before the birth and or you can say after the birth and within 28 days, then it is known as the neonatal mortality rate. And if you want to reduce the neonatal mortality rate, then you have to provide some nutritious food to the mother and also focus on the health and the care centers. So that is very important for the neonatal. And guys, theme is the quality, equity and dignity for every newborn at every health facility and everywhere. So this is main theme of this day or the week. So remember 15 to 21. So moving to last section, that is the one-liner important points, and it is not so much important, but you can remember 1 or 2 points. One is the Pfizer Inc. and BioNTech completed the COVID-19 vaccine, that is known as BNT 162b2 trial within 95% success rate. No need to remember because there is no vaccine till date. So just you can remember that there is a trial of vaccine and it is 95% successful. And this vaccine is basically built or the completed by the manufactured by the Pfizer and BioNTech. These two companies basically manufacture this vaccine. Next is the Competition Commission of India approved acquisition of the certain undertakings like Future Group by the Reliance Group. So remember this. Next is the IMO. That is main important content under this news. That is the IMO, International Maritime Organization, headquarters is in London. Recognize India's IRNSS as component for WWRNS becomes fourth nation in the world to have independent navigation system recognized by IMO. Earlier it was known as NAVIAC. Earlier it was known as the NAVIAC, Navigation with Indian Constellation. But currently it is known as the IRNSS, that is the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. Remember, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. It is the world fourth. India is the world fourth nation in the world who have independent navigation system, which is recognized by the IMO. Earlier, it was the United States, Russia and China who have their country's navigation system, but India becomes the fourth country. So remember, earlier three countries are United States, Russia and China. Now India becomes the fourth country in the world to have its independent regional navigation satellite recognized by the International Maritime Organization. And International Maritime Organization headquarters is in London, guys. Remember. And old name of this IRNSS, that is the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, is NAVIAC, that is Navigation with Indian Constellation. You can remember these two or three things. And one more important thing, this Indian Navigation System is developed by ISRO. Next question. 30th India-Thailand Coordination Patrol held in Andaman Sea. No need to remember, it is not important, just to increase the or enhance the bilateral relation. India and Thailand coordinated patrol held in Andaman Sea. So next is Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas signed MOU for 900 compressed biogas plants worth rupees 30,000 crore with 8 oil and gas companies and technology providers under SATAT initiative. What is this SATAT? This is the basically sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation. I am repeating again, sustainable alternative towards affordable transport. This is the meaning of SATAT. So it is just to increase the biodiversity, or you can say the biogas plants, so that in the fuel generation. So this is the basic tie-up with the 8 oil companies. So remember this, this is the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. And who is the minister? Dharmendra Singh Pradhan. And constituency is in the Madhya Pradesh. Next is the CCI approved acquisition of certain undertaking. I already covered this question. That is the Competition Commission of India. So this is all for today, guys. And thank you for watching this video. And guys, if you like this video, then subscribe this channel and press the like button also. We want 700 plus likes so that we can make more videos on the different content. And thank you guys for supporting us. And it is Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. And guys, press the bell button so that you can receive the notification on time. And guys, it is my personal promise that if you are watching the video and if you are reading the current affairs from the PDF, then your current affairs section will go strong and your marks in the current affairs section will also improve. Thank you guys again for watching this video and supporting us. Take care.